Okay, so we're going to expand this here using the binomial theorem from the formula booklet. Okay, so we start off with 1. Okay, n then is this power, which is a half. Okay, and an x then is this second term in the bracket. Now in this case it's a fraction, but it's a negative fraction, isn't it? So we need to put there minus x over 4. Okay, and then we've got then n, which was a half the power, n reduced by 1, so take away 1 from a half, which is negative half, over then 2 factorial, which is just 1 times 2, so that would be 2. And then we've got to square it, right? Square the x term, so in this case it's this, and then we've got to square all of that, so minus x over 4, put in a bracket, squared. Okay, so that's up to the x squared term, which is what they're looking for. So that will be 1. Now when it comes to this here, you can see positive then negative, so that's obviously going to give us a negative. Times the fractions is easy, so you just times the top, so 1 times x is x, and then 2 times 4 is 8, so that'll be x over 8, okay, or 1/8 x, okay, so you can put x over 8 or 1/8 x, it doesn't matter there, okay, both the same. Here then, let's work this out first. So half times negative half is negative a quarter, divide by 2 is negative an eighth, okay, and then in this bracket then, well, we've got to square it. So square it means the minus will disappear, that'll be x squared on top, and on bottom then you get 16, okay, 4 squared is 16, plus dot dot dot, so finally then simplifying at 1 minus 1/8 x, okay, minus then, well, 1 times x squared is x squared, 8 times 16 is 128, so that'll be minus 128 of x squared, plus dot dot dot. Okay, so there's our expansion. It does say then state the range of values of x for which your expansion is valid. So remember, we've got that from the formula booklet, but we have to replace it now with our term there. So we have minus x over 4 in that modulus, less than 1. Now remember, a minus and a modulus will just disappear because the modulus, it just looks at the size of it, so it goes there. Okay, we can also take the 4 out because it's positive, so we'll end up having that there, because the size of 4 is just 4, isn't it? Remember, because that's what the modulus does, looks at the size of it. Size of 4 is just 4, so we can take it out. And then of course, because you're dividing by 4, you can take it over to the side and times by 4. So we get this. So in other words, the size of x has got to be less than 4. So x can be less than 4 or greater than negative 4. Okay, so that's what it's valid for there. So then we go on, it says then, hence by writing x equals 1 in your expansion, show that square root of 3 is 111 over 64. So what we need to do here, okay, we've got our expansion here, okay, we need to set x to equal 1, it says, yeah. Well, if we do that, we've got to put x equals 1 into both sides, okay. So, and remember, this is only an approximate answer, okay. You'll notice in the question there's like little squiggly equals to say approximately, because essentially we've only gone up to x squared, haven't we? This goes on forever, okay. But each successive term is like adding sort of a really small amount, so it doesn't really matter much beyond those x squared terms there, okay. You're still going to have a very accurate estimation for it, okay. So set x equals 1, put it in here. So 1 minus 1 over 4 to the power half. And then, as I said, I'll use those squiggly equal signs to start with to show it's approximately equal. 1 then, take away. So we substitute x equals 1 into the expansion. Okay. And then we'll get, well, what I want you to do with this, okay, is never use your calculator to work this out in one go. If you want, use your calculator to work out what that is, but don't put the bracket and power half in. Okay, it's important that you just work the bit in there. So 1 take away a quarter is just 3/4. Okay. So as I said, I'm leaving the bracket and the power half there. We don't have to keep writing the squiggly equals, we can just put equals now. And I'm going to work that out on my calculator. So it's just easy because it's 1 take away 1/8. Take away 1 over 128. So that'll be 111 over 128. Now what's good is power half, we know that means square root, yeah? So we're square rooting the whole thing. Okay, and when we square root the whole thing, we can split the square root up, can't we? So we can say square root of 3 over square root of 4 is equal to that. And then to get the square root of 3, of course, I just need to take that square root of 4 over and times. So square root of 3 is equal to 111 over 128 times square root of 4. But of course, you know square root of 4 is just 2, yeah? So therefore, square root of 3 is 111 over 128 times 2, which is equal to 111 over 64, which is what they're asking for.